Well, my play is period piece, and it's generally about women coming to terms with who they are, and it follows specifically the story of Lauren, a version of Queen Elizabeth. I'm not going to say Queen Elizabeth exactly because plenty of historical inaccuracies up in there, but the point is that it's this embodiment of the Queen, and also Bonnie, who we later find out is Lauren's mother. And so it's really following these women and seeing how they deal with the different problems that they come up with in their lives and how they align themselves with their identity, because identity is often defined by things outside of ourselves, like our gender, like our social status and such. And so it's really a hard point to decide, okay, this is something that I am, and I have to either be okay with it, and if I'm not okay with it, then I have to find a way to get out of it or to fix it. And that's a very difficult thing for people to do, especially in my experience for women to do. So that is what the play became about. I took playwriting and advanced playwriting, but this piece was actually never worked on in either of those classes, strangely enough. But it was good to have those two classes as sort of a structure for me, because it kept me writing, even if it wasn't that piece in particular. Just constantly writing was something that was good for me. This was actually the first piece I've written where the first scene is the first thing I wrote, and I kept it exactly the way it is, because it's a very simple scene, barely any dialogue. She just comes on, and Queen Elizabeth discovers that she has her period, and so it's just that process of like having to deal with all of those layers of clothes that she has. And I really liked that idea of like, it's not just getting your period, it's getting your period and everything else that comes along with it, and there's just so much to it. And then I continued with that, and originally it was 3 completely different worlds. It was just Queen Elizabeth, it was Catherine, and then it was Bonnie, and these were completely different women. But then it was getting to be all over the place, and I didn't know where I wanted to go and how I wanted to tie these stories together. So then it became, Catherine became Lauren, who ended up being Bonnie's daughter, who ended up being the creator of this idea of Queen Elizabeth as woman ruler. So the stories just came together like that, which I'm much happier with now. I'm very much inclined to do just before and after. I don't like to be much involved in the actual process during the page to stage transition. So I got to see the first full run that they did, which was fantastic, and it was just incredibly shocking to me to just see people on stage reading my words and just making these people come to life, especially because I have this Elizabethan world and then I have this modern world, and a lot of the actors are double casted between the two worlds. So watching them, because I wrote a shift in the language, and then I get to watch them do a shift in their acting, a shift in how they hold themselves, and just seeing that complete package come together was really fulfilling, and I'm very excited to see where the end product goes, because I trust all the actors and I trust the director to take it where it needs to be. I went to see a rehearsal where they were doing table work, and they were just discussing the relationships between characters. And when I had gone back and re-edited some of the scenes, it was after I had broken up with my most recent boyfriend. And I didn't write it with him in mind, but I guess subconsciously I did, because then they're discussing the relationship between these two characters, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you just exactly described my relationship with him, and I didn't even realize it. And it was just, it kind of enlightened me to myself, because I'm like, well, I guess that's how I actually felt about it, and I never realized that that's how I actually felt about it. So it was very, like, whoa kind of moment. Like, I didn't realize I was saying these things that are so much truer than I meant them to be. My favorite moment in the play is definitely the final scene. I love the way it all comes together, and I wrote piñatas into this play very specifically because I love the idea of just having this beautiful, brightly colored thing hanging up there, and you could just hit it as hard as you want, and instead of someone yelling at you, you get candy for it. So it's this great catharsis at the end where she's just going at it with the bat, and there's no feeling like that, and just being surrounded by all the people she loves as well. I really hope that the audience walks away with the ability to understand something that they may not have understood before. I have a few things specifically that I wrote in a little more than others, but honestly, it's whatever the audience sees in it, because like they'll see one person and they'll say something and they'll be like, oh wait, that's totally like what happened with me the other day. And oh, so that means that the other person was feeling this way. And it's the little moments that I really hope I get to create in their minds, so that they just walk away with a little like, huh, okay, I get it now.